Hulu Exorcist was very hyped when it came out for two reasons, one being the only thing most people care about, the pretty colors! The animation is very good compared to most other anime which are cutting their budgets because they're just making cheaper promotions of the source material. The other positive is the very exciting beginning, which promises a lot only to deliver nothing. In the first two episodes, the protagonist finds out he's the son of the devil and vows before his foster father's corpse to become the most powerful exorcist and to destroy him with his infernal powers. What follows that awesome premise has nothing to do with it. He just goes to a school where he is shouting at his brother, reads manga, complains about homework, sleeps in class, fails in all tests, and then hits the beach so he can loaf around. His commitment to the cause is so strong it's heartbreaking. If you look past its initial hook, you just get yet another shonen with yet another team of edgy teenagers ghost-busting monsters. The concept is very close to Dick Grayman or Soul Eater if you take out all the effort from the script. There is nothing special about the setting and how people and monsters interact with each other. The demons are not summoned because of human grief, the characters are not fusing their powers through teamwork, and heaven is just a place full of angels. Good luck making things interesting when the concept is bare bones. And not only it's bare bones, it also makes no sense. I mean, they summon monsters by biting their fingers like in Naruto or draw summoning circles on the ground like in Fullmetal Alchemist. Why are they called exorcists when they are summoning demons? How are the fanatic paladins supposed to be Christians when they want to use Rin, who is full of the devil's power? And why is a half-naked bimbo able to make holy water by chanting when she never prayed to God? Why do you even need to chant anything in order to banish a monster when a simple sword slash is just as effective? And the best part is that they can't sanctify their own school because it will drive away their own demons. As a result, the school is constantly being attacked by fiends, and there is no protection against that. The defenses of Hogwarts say hello. My point is, these are definitely not exorcists. But then again, Naruto wasn't really about ninjas either. So down to it, this is all some lame excuse to call the characters something when they can be called anything else just as easily. Like Aono Ninja or Aono Summoner. Even if there was an interesting concept that would rival the complexity of something like a certain magical index, the show would still not be interesting because it has a lot less action than it has a school comedy, making it one hell of a boring fighting shonen. Also, it's not a good comedy since the jokes are pretty average stuff you can find in pretty much any anime. And although it's normal for fighting shonen to start light and humorous at first, before they become heavy on action and drama later on, in this case it never happens because the show does not last long enough to get to that serious part. I'm not against all this boring training they are going through for most of the show, but it doesn't feel anywhere as significant as the first episodes and doesn't even have a payoff. Also, as cool as the animation may be, the same cannot be said about the artwork. There is no theme in the setting. Soul Eater had weird suns and moons, Dick Grayman had a gothic feeling. What is the theme of this world? Looks great but feels generic. The same thing can be said about the characters who are all so average. If I describe the protagonist as dumb, bored with a dark side that comes out when he's in danger and makes him OP, I am basically describing 95% of all protagonists. The same can be said about the other characters which you have seen hundreds of times before. Furthermore, you don't even care about them right away. You will never bother to think, yeah, this is an interesting character, which happens in all successful shonen. You just see delinquent males, damsels in distress, or big busted bimbos. Not to mention the cardinal sin of shonen, which is when they are catching up to the manga and then have to resort to filler episodes. In this show it is even worse because the adaptation came out way too soon. Half of the show is dead time and the rest of it is boring training sessions. So down to it we have two great episodes followed by dull characters, a story that barely matters, subpar humor and lots of fillers. But the colors are pretty, so who cares? The second season shows us how little we are supposed to care about plot continuity by beginning with a time reset. Everything that happened in the last quarter of the previous season is simply erased because it was random bullshit that was not following the manga and is now contradicting the continuation. But it's okay, we can always overthink it and call it a deconstruction for having time resets like so many other shows lately, thus instantly making it a plus. The second season is also telling us how little we are supposed to care about the storytelling, since everything runs on plot convenience. This soldier is conveniently a complete retard who lets a kid run past him, and instead of preventing the kid from walking any further by grabbing it, he only stops its mother who was getting ready to grab it. The kid is instantly captured by a criminal, as if he was conveniently aware of the kid running towards him. But it's okay, we can always overthink it and call it a masterpiece for being unpredictable and thus in a constant state of suspense. The second season is also telling us how little we are supposed to care about the tactics, since the criminal is not using the kid as a human shield to escape, and is instead walking towards a dead end where he is cornered. And then he's using a gas attack which leaves everyone dazed as he escapes, something he could have done right away without letting himself be cornered or be in need of a human shield. This ends up being pointless since he gets himself cornered again a few minutes later. This time he does not use a gas attack or even holds the kid as a shield. It's as if he forgot what he's supposed to be doing. Even capturing him ends up being pointless since it's revealed to be a diversion so the real villain can steal something from somewhere else. Which makes no sense, since such a minor incident didn't mobilize thousands of exorcists and wouldn't leave a top secret facility completely unguarded. And of course, there is no need to kill anyone and maintain the cover for the future. He just reveals the evil plan to them and runs away like it's all according to plan. Why did he even need a diversion? The bad guy can teleport anywhere he likes whenever he likes it. He could have jumped in, taken the item and jumped out in a few seconds, even if there were 1,000 guards. In fact, if he hadn't made a diversion, he wouldn't be giving the good guys the time to suspect him and then track him with a familiar. This whole plan was not just needlessly complicating, it was also counterintuitive. By the way, how did Boobzilla figure it out there was something fishy going on? She's constantly drunk, bored, and runs around half naked because her role is to be fan service. She doesn't want to do shit, much less be a slutty Sherlock Holmes. This is bullshit. The worst part is how, in retrospect, half the episode is a waste of time since nothing of importance actually happens. All this time the protagonist is doing nothing to help, he's just yelling at everyone and wants to loaf around like a worthless piece of shit he is. They just keep him around because of his broken powers and not because he's using his brains or he's a cheerful fellow to have a chat with. And don't you just love how they keep hammering the drama about him through double standards? He's the spawn of the devil, but he otherwise saved our ass. Let's hate him, but use him. And let's keep repeating that by having the exact same flashback in almost every episode, so we can remind the viewer of the single thing we bet all our money on. Other than that little thing, there is nothing to care about this guy. In fact, he's the most unlikable shonen protagonist ever, right after that ball with eyes. Final verdict? Trash! It always was, it always will be. The only reason some seem to like it is because of the
damn vodkas, goddammit.